in Lower Manhattan. Let's bring in the attorney, Andrea Lewis, for more on this, former felony prosecutor, criminal defense attorney as well. Welcome back, Andrea. Forget the celebrity. We have celebrities on trial a lot, so let's put that aside for one moment. We come back to it. But Caitlin's other point there about lifestyle and some of these things that have come up at the trial, Mark Agnifilo is one of Diddy's lawyers talking about his quote-unquote swinger lifestyle. This is a quote from the court hearing notes. There's a lifestyle called swingers that he was in that he thought was appropriate. The reason he thought it was appropriate is because it's so common. So I don't know. What about, jurors hearing that and I guess accepting that before the trial even starts? What would you say? What would you say?
Well, right. I mean, the question really is, that lifestyle is common to who? I mean, that's certainly not a lifestyle that I know myself, you, many of the viewers know anything about. And so it's going to just be very difficult to get a jury here. And like you just noted, I mean, think about the wide variety of charges and all of the really sort of inflammatory evidence that they're going to be hearing and things of that nature. You're talking about guns. People have very strong feelings about guns, one way or the other. We're talking about sexual violence. As you noted, I mean, these are issues that are really deep-rooted in how people feel about various things, trauma in their life, trauma in the lives of those that they may know, things that they have seen on TV. So this is going to be something, there's so many issues here, a lot to weed out. It's just going to be very difficult for them to get a jury.
So they had this like Simon & Schuster chief marketing officer that they threw out, right, today, which I thought was interesting. But then the HBO, did you hear, Caitlin was talking about this, I think it's a woman who works for HBO, and HBO made a documentary about Diddy. So here's the court exchange over the potential jurors' jobs. The judge says, what was the documentary? Agnifilo, the lawyer, says the fall of Diddy. Prosecutor, HBO has many documentaries. Given her answers, we find no issue of propriety. And Agnifilo says, this is an important issue, a timing issue. So, the juror, they didn't throw that juror out, I don't think. So that was kind of interesting.
It is interesting, and let me tell you how that works. So generally speaking, there's going to be a lot of issues like that come up in any trial where it's the person may have some connection to either people or some of the topics or issues being covered in the case, but maybe it wasn't direct connection. So maybe their company did it, but not them. They don't know that many specific details about it. Those are all things that they're going to want to do a deep dive into. So it is possible that someone who works at HBO who maybe didn't have a personal connection to those the documentary, that they may be on the jury.
So we have a list we can put up. We don't have to go through all of them, but Caitlin was talking about some of the questions. We put up some of the questions like you have knowledge of sexual assault, domestic violence, and that kind of thing, and they went through. If you're trying, and here you see some of those, beliefs and concerns about hiring sexual workers, infidelity, as you said earlier, firearms, illegal drugs. If you're on the defense team, Andrea, here, who's the jury you're looking at? What type of person are you looking for?
Well, they're going to want somebody who's open-minded and who's not going to prejudge. I mean, these concepts, the evidence that they're going to be hearing here, these aren't things that most people would find acceptable, right? Maybe it's religious beliefs, ethical beliefs, just whatever it may be. So they're really going to have to look for people who don't have any prior involvement with any crimes like this, who've not been victims of crimes, who don't know people who've been victims of crimes like the ones being alleged here, things like that, and who can be open-minded.
Right. But as I said earlier, is a lot of people, even if they don't know someone personally, might have thoughts on a crime like that, how heinous it is, the allegations at least, and it might affect their personal thinking on it. So how do you tell when they're being interviewed? If they say, yeah, I can be fair, is that enough, or you're looking at facial expressions, the way they say it, or what are you looking at?
Well, and that's a great question. So the attorneys here are going to be looking at everything, but you just hit the nail on the head. So they're going to be asking questions, and really the heart of the question is, can you be fair? It's okay, you might have heard of something that's not going to get you excluded on its face, but they need to know if you're going to be able to be fair on these issues. But even if the person says, yes, I can be fair, and yet they say other things that would lead the parties to believe that maybe that's not 100% true, they can still ask the court to strike those people.
Okay, just getting started today here in New York. Andrea Lewis, thanks for coming on. Most appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up.